I see a problem, I want to solve it. And just from, talking to everybody, knowing all of the things that we struggle with, knowing what I struggled with in the beginning of my business, really was organization. And it wasn't until I really started taking my business seriously, like this is not a hobby, and I need to lay the foundation. It's really hard to build a business when there are cracks in our foundation. And so I know a lot of us have incredible certifications. We've got the excitement, the love in our hearts to serve and make a difference. And then when the business side comes up, some of us fall apart. And Megan is an incredible business coach. She is also the Raven and Grace CPA. And she is so organized in her back end that she could teach me a thing or two. And this is not something that is my strong suit, which is why I've brought in Megan, which is why I have Jessica. But we can't always afford a Jessica in the beginning, right? We can't always afford to hire a staff. So we do need to organize the back ends of our business so that we can grow, we can get paid, we don't feel, frazzled and all over the place. So I am excited for Megan to share with you a little bit today about getting paid, organized, and start operating like a real business. Megan is also the amazing author of the soon to be released next year, The Aligned Entrepreneur's Guide to Tarot. She is not your father's CPA. With nearly 2 decades of experience, she has advised everyone from scrappy startups to Fortune 500 companies. But her true mission is to help women founders and minority-led businesses build real wealth and authority. She's the founder of Abundancia Advisory, and she blends sharp financial strategy with unapologetic leadership, showing entrepreneurs that money isn't something to fear. It's a tool to claim power, to create impact, and design the life that you actually want. So at the end, she has, with my help, designed a very simple, very inexpensive 4-week container for coaches to get organized in their business. And when I say inexpensive, it's ridiculously inexpensive. I wanted to bring in something that could be affordable for my clients to be able to get organized. You will also get a lot out of today if that doesn't feel like a good next best step for you. But I really identified all the things I talked to Jessica, Sev, myself, different trainers, the things that everybody is struggling with. We need to create like SOPs. How do you create a Google Doc? How do you do payment? I'm a marketer. I teach you guys Clarity Catalyst. I teach marketing mentorship. I teach marketing, how to speak, how to get TEDx. All that is my area of expertise. Honestly, the back end is not my expertise, and I see a real missing in it for us. So I'm very excited that Megan is launching this very simple business basics course. Um, She's going to give you a lot of information today that whether or not you do it, you will get great value. We are recording this, so you'll be able to review it. And then she'll share with you a little bit about the course that she's created along with my help. And so without further ado, Megan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okie dokie. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And just so you guys know, I will go through the chat later. I have ADHD, so I have to keep myself out of it, or else I'll get very hyper focused on the wrong things. So I will check your messages at the end. I saw a couple come through. So today I'm going to show you how to get paid, get organized, and start operating like a real coach. This is just a simple back-end roadmap because new coaches and consultants still want to look professional, get paid, and then stop winging it. The uncomfortable truth is that getting certified did not make you operationally ready to run a business. I have an accounting degree. I have a master's degree in accounting, and I have a lot of clients in my CPA firm who are doctors and lawyers. And even when you have those professional degrees, nobody teaches you how to run a business. They tell you how to do a skill for somebody else. And so just because you're certified and you don't automatically know how to run a business, that does not mean that you are bad or will be bad at business. It means that you were not taught the skill of the back end. And it's common. It's not something that's unique to coaches. But you also know that coaching skill alone is not enough. You need to get clients consistently, you need to get paid consistently, and you need to build the business side so that you can start having that pipeline and that marketing engine. So just being an excellent coach isn't going to equate to being profitably immediately profitable, and it's more common than you think. So really organizing that back end is going to be incredibly key to making sure that your business stays viable. But the good news is you don't need a complicated tech stack to start operating professionally. You need one simple way to get paid. You need one home for all of your business essentials, and you need a repeatable client journey and process. And these simple systems will create the real momentum that'll make it a lot easier to grow that business confidently. So, just a quick poll. And then, Jen, you can tell me what the results of the poll are. I am not like,
Yep.
yep. A, B, C, or D. What do you think the business coach needs first? An LLC, a website, a social media presence, or a way to get paid? A, B, C, or D?
We're having a lot of either A's or D's.
Okay.
A and D split.
Okay. A and D split. Well, the good news is half of you are right. You need to get paid. Like, why are we even doing this? We don't need it. Like, why do you need an LLC for if you don't have any paying customers? That's silly. We need to get paid first. And so the three shifts that change everything is number one, get paid. Because if you're not getting paid, why are we doing this? Then you're a charity. Get organized so that you can get paid more. And then stay confident so that people start throwing money at you. This is how you stop winging it behind the scenes. So, getting paid starts with a few basics. Number one, separate your business and your personal money. It is so common for early stage entrepreneurs, and probably the first 2 or 3 months of me running my own firm, I did run it out of my personal checking, but I quickly separated it after I gained momentum. Um, and it was a pain in the back end. But separating your business and personal money, either through having just two separate checking accounts, having one credit card that you're only using for business expenses, if it's possible, not always possible, um, choosing one simple payment method to accept payments. You know, there's Stripe, Square, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle. Having just when somebody says, how can I pay you? You just have one place to go. Don't overcomplicate it. Tracking income and expenses from the start so that you will be able to tell if you're overspending or not. And create a basic monthly money routine so that you can see, you know, if you're priced correctly, that making sure that your people are actually paying you, making sure you're not overspending on things. So this big shift will really set the foundation to have a very fruitful business. Get organized. Your back end should reduce anxiety, not create it. You need one home for your business, a Google Drive or a Dropbox. We use Google Drive. Create one home for your business. Keep organized folders of forms, contracts, and links easy for you to find. Make onboarding repeatable so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time you have a new client. And stop relying on your memory and scrambling. Um, so being organized is really going to help you build that confidence. Having a consistent client journey where somebody inquires, you have your discovery call, then you send the contract and they pay you, then you intake, then you have your first session. And very importantly, the piece a lot of people miss is creating that feedback loop so your client can give you feedback of, yes, this was an amazing experience to onboard, or this was an amazing first session. Or, it was really confusing to me how you wouldn't let me just pay you. Like you're getting that feedback so that you can tweak and hone this into something that just feels very intentional and very aligned with what you're doing in your business. Because if your systems are messy, you're going to have money avoidance. Disorganization is not something that's neutral. The messy systems will create delay, confusion, and it will, for those of us, raise your hand if you're a people pleaser, me, um, it'll make it where you're going to people please to compensate for the messy back end that nobody knows you had because it makes you feel guilty. And so now you're people pleasing so that you keep your clients and all that. Your confidence will grow when your back end is clear and you have a process. It's easier to get away from people pleasing. You're able to answer questions quicker and give a better client experience. And the structure will also help you sell and serve better because you know where everything is at. So staying confident is key. Okay, we have two coaches here. I'm going to read you a story I wrote about Coach Debbie and Coach Sarah. Disorganized Debbie is a health coach who just got her certification. She did the brave thing and put herself out there and received an email inquiry. She doesn't have a form, so she types out a long email of questions for her potential client and checks her email relentlessly all day long, waiting to hear back. When she finally hears back, the client wants to work with her and they email back and forth for another day, finding a time that works for both of them. They have a call a couple of days later and the client wants to move forward. Debbie then verbally tells her client her coaching package is $500 per month. The client asks how to pay, and Debbie provides a list of her Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle names. The client doesn't have an ink pen handy to write it down, so she requests that Debbie send her the information by email and responds the next day wanting to know how to pay with her credit card. Debbie looks up a YouTube video on how to send a payment request so that the client can use their credit card. The client pays and they email back and forth for another afternoon, finding a time to get started. There's no contract, so Debbie and the client are unclear as to what's promised and what's expected. Debbie hops on the first call and lets the client word vomit everything that's going wrong with her health, but Debbie gives her guidance based on her frameworks. After a few weeks, Debbie's client has decent results in Debbie's eyes, but her client seems lukewarm and asks for a discount on the next month. Debbie wants so badly to retain her that she falls into people pleasing and issues a discount. From inquiry to onboarding, it has taken roughly a week, and Debbie feels she needs to go above and beyond what she promised to get this client back on track. In contrast, we have superstar Sarah. She's a wellness coach and opens her computer at 7 a.m. while she's sipping on her coffee and notices that a dream client reached out to see how to work with her. She emailed back with her inquiry form, which has a link to her call schedule. The client schedules for later that afternoon. They hop on a call and are a perfect fit. While they're on the call, Sarah sends over the contract and payment link, which the client handles right then and there. Sarah then sends over the intake form while scheduling the first call. From inquiry to intake, it takes Sarah less than a day. The client is over the moon happy and has referred all her friends to Sarah because of how easy and seamless it was to get started. Would you rather be Debbie or Sarah? Is it pretty much Sarah, Jen?
I would hope so.
Yeah. How many of us feel like Debbie? I have a funny story about this. When I was creating the slides, I put some pictures of me and Jen in, and I told it to make a slide, and it didn't do anything to the AI, and it put me as disorganized Debbie and Jen as superstar Sarah, and my
We're
feelings were
the
hurt.
opposite.
It's because I had a picture with my computer and it has stickers all over the back, and I think that's probably where they thought I was disorganized. But all that to say, both coaches are going to make money, but who's going to have a harder time with business? So there is a hidden cost of making sure that you have all of these things set up. Figuring it out alone may seem free, but you're going to spend 10 to 25 hours do it yourself research on all of these different tools. You're going to get overwhelmed with your tech because it's happened to me, and you're going to spend 15 to 30 plus hours like researching. Instead of focusing on the one thing that's going to move you forward, you're going to be trying to decide, um, do I want to use Flowdesk or do I want to use Kit? And you're not even at the point where you even need email marketing at this point. Um, if you hire help, it's still going to take you 2 to 5 hours to get them up to speed on what you're looking for. And with money, having an online business manager, an OBM, do a back end setup is, on the cheap end, if you get somebody on Upwork, it might be 300, but it's going to be 1500 plus for most really good OBMs. Um, Whenever we add to the tech stack, it's going to be $7 to $50 a month and up, depending on the tools. And of course, you still have to pay your payment processor. So if your time is worth $75, which really and truly everybody on this call, if you're a coach, you should not be charging anything under than $150 for an hour of your time. But even if you just half that, if this program saves you more than 4 hours, it's only $297. It has already paid for itself. So imagine knowing exactly what to send when somebody inquires, having one clear path to getting hired, getting paid without scrambling, having a repeatable, simple onboarding process, and having a business that starts to feel real. That feels amazing. And so we're going to have the Align Money Method Business Starter System. It's for beginners, for new coaches, or those who have been coaching for a while and have never figured the back end out that need just a very simple, low cost or free back end before they can even think about bookkeeping or before they can even think about scaling. Simple systems, money confidence, and a real foundation for growth. We start simple now and then we upgrade strategically later. So throughout this program, everything that I've chosen, it's either very minimal cost or free. And I do that intentionally because I don't want you spending a lot of money until you have a proof of concept with your business, until you're bringing in clients on a regular basis and you know it's time to upgrade the tool. So you'll know what to use for now, what to skip for now, and know more importantly when it's time to start upgrading those tools so that you can grow into those better systems with confidence. I've seen so many business owners get so many different tools, get a lot of tech overwhelm, and they had a really good thing going, but they end up just quitting because they're overwhelmed with the tech. We can start simple and free and work from there. And I'm going to actually go over this brochure that was created for you all that you will get in an email. The business starter system, and this is just like a mock-up. It's going to be a course in Circle that drips out over 4 weeks. The day of our live call that morning, you will have the piecemeal learning stuff drip out. That way you can watch it before the call if you have time. But the call will be to give an overarching discussion on what to do that week in your business, as well as serve as a space to call out some of the more complex tasks that we will be handling, and then maybe answer some questions if you've already tried to go in and start working on the things. Um, I'm getting ahead of myself. And to be clear, this is not, I'm an accountant and I do have like bookkeeping groups and different things of that nature. This isn't bookkeeping. This is what you have to do before you even have money to bookkeep on. This is not marketing. This is what needs to happen before any of that really works. And this is where you build the clean, simple foundation so that you feel organized, poised, and ready to grow. So week one, we're going to get paid and know what to track. I'm going to show you how to set up a PayPal link. I'll probably show you how to set up a Stripe link as well, but I would just choose one to get started. You'll learn how to separate your personal and business money, accept payments, what type of expenses you need to track, how to create a simple money routine, what you need to do before you even get a subscription to QuickBooks. I provide you a month by month spreadsheet tracker that's already set up. I teach you how to use it. I even give you an AI tool where if you're going in and you're trying to do your money and you don't know what something is, like is what kind of expense is this, or is this even an expense for my business? You can ask the AI and it's trained on telling you how to do that in your spreadsheet. So you're gonna be very supported there. So you're going to be able to be paid cleanly. We get that out of the way first. Then we're going to organize your back end and set up some simple tools. You're going to learn how to set up a Google Drive, what type of folder architecture you need, what you need to keep separate, where your contracts, forms, receipts, and client material should live, how to name and store your business files so that you can actually find them. We're also going to talk about which platforms you can ignore for right now and how to stop overbuying the tech that you are not ready for, since you have a really clean system. And we're going to set up a lot of tools so that going into week three, we can create your client onboarding flow. You're going to have a scheduling link. You're going to know what to include on an intake form so that you can vet out people. You can see if somebody's a qualified lead before you waste time on a call. We're going to discuss why contracts matter and then how you can find some free contracts. And we're going to recommend some low cost contracts that are attorney drafted. We're not attorneys, so we can't give you legal advice, but this is a very important area for everybody that's on this call. How to collect payment before starting. We already set up the links. Now we're going to make sure that those are collected. What to say in your welcome message and how to make the client experience feel professional from day one. And when we set up the client onboarding flow, you'll be given a guide. We'll even give you some AI prompts that you can use with Claude or ChatGPT that'll help you draft those emails and where to set them up so that if you're not using an email marketing platform, you can still find them, copy paste, and save a lot of time. And then week four, we're going to bring it all together and we're going to talk about our mindset and our CEO routines. We're going to talk about how to work through money avoidance, how to stop feeling shame around your numbers, and how to build confidence. What I notice is when you start a business, it's really the biggest professional or personal development thing that you're ever going to go through. You're going to have many ego deaths in business. And so a lot of times we get hyper focused on these little tasks in our business that mean absolutely nothing because we're avoiding the thing we don't want to deal with. And in week number four, we're going to kind of go through how to tell when you really do need to upgrade, or if you're just looking at shiny object syndrome for that. And so the outcome is you'll leave with a sustainable business routine, not just a burst of motivation. And one thing to note, like throughout this 4 week, we do have an Ask the Expert portal in our circle group where you can drop your questions And then we'll have like a pretty firm rules of engagement on that and like how to approach your questioning. So that anytime you're working on it, even if you're working on it at 2 o'clock in the morning, because it's the only time you have to work on your business, you can drop the question in, and in 24 to 48 business hours, our team will look it over, get back with you, either answer the question or let you know when to expect that answer. So you're very supported throughout this whole process. So you'll have a cleaner, organized back end, a simple system for tracking your money, a recommended Google Drive folder structure, a basic client onboarding workflow that you can make your own, a list of essential tools, a weekly money check-in routine, payment link setup guidance, client-facing templates, and a roadmap for what to do next as your business grows. This is for you if you're a brand new life coach, health coach, certified coach of any type, early stage service provider, or an experienced coach who is not making consistent money yet. A coach who needs a simple back end support before they need bookkeeping or strategy, or somebody who wants to feel more organized, confident, and professional. It's not for you if you already have multiple steady clients, a streamlined way to onboard and track your clients, a full bookkeeping system, if you need advanced tax strategies, a complete business backend done for you, or a desire for complicated funnels, platforms, or system scaling. And it's also not for you if you're not willing to learn these simple tools and actually implement the things that we're teaching you to make your life easier. Because this isn't going to take you a lot of time. We're walking you through step by step, guiding you through the process. But you still got to do the work. This is for you if you want to get the basics in place and are ready to start actually making some money and making a difference in the lives of people. We have some bonuses. You have the 4 week starter system. You have a business tax guide that I wrote. We have a CEO mindset guide. We have a roadmap that tells you when you need to start adding new tools, a client journey roadmap. Of course, you can modify it to make it fit your business, but it's a great starting point. Client journey AI prompt guide. As you're building all of this through um, all of this, instead of sitting there at your computer deciding what to write, it'll help you come up with the communications that you need for different circumstances. Client communication templates. We're going to create some client communication templates for you so that you can plug and play with those. We have Ask the Expert that I just went over. And then an organized Google Drive setup will give you a sheet with the structure so that you have a map of how to set up your Google Drive. And easy onboarding message examples. We'll walk you through like an actual onboarding. That way, you have simple examples for welcoming new clients into your world. When you add it all up, we have over $1,100 of value, and we're only charging $297. And so it's really a great thing, especially for new stage coaches.
Megan, there's a couple of questions. Let's see, I'll go through them for you real quick. Linda was wondering, do you help organize, understand the systems that we may already have in place?
Like um what kind of example? Like if you're are we going to go through how to set up an organized flow desk? No. We're going to go through how to create payment links, how to accept payments from clients. We're going to go through setting up your Google Drive so that all of your important documents, you're able to find them. We're going to go over the client journey and the touch points that you should have in the client journey. Um, and through this, if you already are using some of the tools that we're teaching, you might see areas where they can be optimized, but we're not going into any, if you have like an example of what you're asking about, but
Linda,
we're not.
put in the chat what the exact example is, sweetheart. And Betty is saying, I will be traveling half of June. Would it be okay to just watch the recordings, Megan?
Yeah, you can do that. I believe we are, you know, you only have 4 weeks with Ask the Expert, but you're going to have access to this evergreen.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not
lifetime.
pulling, yeah, I'm not going to make it expire.
Yep. And then Doris is saying, for example, I have a checking account, but no way to accept credit card payments. Will be your
Oh,
information on which portal to use.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That 100%. That's week one.
Yep. Rebecca says, if we're already pretty much set up in the back end, but interested in some of the bonus materials, do you offer those separately?
Jen and I haven't really talked about that.
Yeah. We'll figure that out. We'll let you know, Rebecca.
Which ones in
Email you.
particular are you the most interested in?
Somebody's also writing, I still have shame around charging clients for my expertise. Always worked for others, never had my own business. Well, we talk about mindset around charging clients too, correct? What
Well,
is,
yes, yes, we're going to talk about the common mindset
yeah.
issues.
What is the commitment for this course? So she has once a week for an hour. And then, just setting up how much time each week, if they're starting from ground zero, Megan, do you think they're going to need to set aside to do the tasks each week to get
It's
their,
all it's all going to be dependent on how well you are with tech to begin with. I mean, we make it, excuse me, very simple. Like I do the process on a Loom video and there's like a step-by-step guide that you're given.
yep,
So it's very simple, but somebody like me could watch a Loom video and then just go do it in 10 minutes. If you're somebody who has to stop at each step, it might take a little longer. But I would say a couple hours a week.
yep. And people are asking, I put in the time. Also, there's a link that goes to this PDF. It's going to be on Wednesdays, June 3rd to the 24th from 8 to 9 p.m. And it's 1 hour a week. And then she's got so many tutorial videos in her back end. It's in this beautiful portal called Circle with so many resources. I mean, it's unbelievable what she has put together. The resources, the time that she has spent, the step by step to make it so easy to just build the back end of your business. And the fact that this is, 297 is insanely wonderful and very generous of her, I feel, and I'm very grateful that she's created this for my students because I know how needed it is. And I feel like in 30 days, if you just kind of stay with her, everything's going to be set up, and then you can do the rest. Um,
And there's going to be a point where your business grows. And this is, just to be clear, this isn't the perfect back end that's going to serve you when you're making seven figures a year. But if you have no organization, you're always going to be recreating the wheel every time you have an inquiry. And what you don't realize is that hurts your confidence. And that's also going to be part of the reason you don't feel like charging is because subconsciously you know that your back end is messy. So by organizing it and having that streamlined and then knowing exactly what you need to do and when and having that confidence, that's going to be a firm foundation that you can build on.
awesome. And then we're going to send an email following today with a replay. And then all of the information, this PDF will be in there. The class starts in less than a week. It's going to start on Wednesday, June 3rd. Well,
It's a
is
little
that
bit
2 weeks from
over a
now?
week.
Sorry, it's a little bit over a week. Yep. And it's going to start, yeah, so a little less than 2 weeks from now. Yep. And and if you guys have any questions that are coming up, just respond to the email and Jessica will let us know, and Megan and I will get all of your questions answered. But I kind of think Yeah, it's EST, 8 to 9 p.m. EST, which would be 5 to 6 PST. Um, Daphne, this is the first time we're running it. We're going to see how it goes and get feedback. And if it's working great, which we think it will, yeah, we'll definitely run it again. But this is definitely the pilot course right now, for my students to see how this goes over.
And I mean, you can rewatch and catch up.
Yeah.
Because that week 4 is really more mindset driven. And so you still have that week 4 time to
Yep.
tap in and ask questions.
So the deadline to sign up is going to be on Wednesday, May 27th, just so that we know how many people are in the class. And I think a week is enough to say if you're in or out.
Yeah, Danette, email, I think we're running all of our communications through Jessica. She can collect all of our questions. Danette wanted to email me directly because she has some things in place she may not need.
Okay.
But you can get those questions to Jessica that way if there's common questions,
Yep.
you know.
Any questions you have, give to Jessica, info@jennifergrace.com. We can create an FAQ for everybody and then send the answers to everybody. Because probably, Danette, if you have one question, somebody else has a question. So because we're just launching this, we just want to keep it really tight and have good communication with everybody. All right. Well, I'm certainly excited. This really came from a need that it's just not a skill that I personally have. And I want to make sure that everybody has everything they need to have a successful business. And Megan will kick your butt. She's incredible in business. She's an incredible CPA. She has a wealth of knowledge that is beyond mine in this area of expertise. And I'm just so excited to share her with all of you and so excited for everybody. And I think the summer's a great time, to get organized, to do batching, to build our communities, get our businesses ready. So when the fall comes, we are up and running and ready to rock and roll. All right, everybody. I will see you all soon. Thank you for
I'll,
being here.
I'll
Love you
see you
all.
soon,
Thanks, Daphne.
Jennifer.
Bye, guys. I'll see you in a minute. I'm coming downstairs.
I miss you, by the way.
Miss
Bye.
you too, Lisa.
I
Bye,
know.
guys. Love you all.